Good morning and welcome to episode 15 of Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy. Tom Moore recording from our studio in downtown Clovis, Farmers Electric Cooperative headquarters. Man, I'm so glad you guys can tune in and hear all this unbelievable knowledge I've got for you that I've accrued over the last 26 years of my electric utility career. Yeah, well, I don't know about unbelievable knowledge, but maybe unbelievable. But it is knowledge, nonetheless. Yes, so fall is in the air. I mentioned that last week, and we are almost a week in. Monday, September 22nd, I believe, was the first day of fall. And here it is, the 27th, and I can feel it. I can feel it in the air. It's cool and crisp in the mornings and in the evenings, and it makes for a very, very nice time of year. So the wind is not blowing, but just a bit, and it's just the slightest breeze. I see as I'm recording, I'm looking at a picture window here, and I see a set of flags, and they are slightly moving. But, our windy season here in the high plains of eastern New Mexico typically start in late November, which is late fall, and, kind of in the middle of fall, I guess I could say. And they go through a good portion of the winter time, and then they slow down a bit, and they start to pick up in the spring, and through about half the summer. That's our windy season. Then it starts to calm down a bit. But a little wind, or what I'd call a breeze, in the summertime is nice. It kind of takes the edge off of the heat. Because if you're pushing 100 degrees, it's nice to have a little breeze to make you feel a little cooler. We call that evaporative cooling. And we can get into that another day. But I want to talk about fall. And so what I've been doing at home, my wife and I anyway, and I've suggested this in past episodes, but I really want to drive it home a little bit. When the temperature in the evening time is cooler, particularly now it's considerably cooler in the late evening and early morning hours than it is outside, than it is inside. So when you go to bed, it may be 74, 75 degrees in your house because it's warmed up during the day. And perhaps that's where you have your thermostat set for your air conditioning. But it's been getting into the mid-50s, lower 50s. Even I think we had one day this last week that was in the high 40s. So if you open a couple of windows in your home and create a draft, you can circulate some fresh air through there and cool off your home considerably. And you can watch, just go into your thermostat and check the temperature every morning, and you'll see over the next several days it will start to decline. Like this morning, I got up and it was 71 degrees in the house, and I think we had gone to bed at like 76. So it really makes a difference. And I can almost promise you, if you go to bed with covered in nothing, but maybe the sheet, you're going to end up pulling the heavier covers up by morning time, and it does push a fresh air smell through your house, and it's just nice. It's a nice time of year. So, kind of in line with that thinking, episode 8. I want you guys, if you haven't heard it, go back, and if you just need a refresher, go back and listen to it. It was about attic fans and whole home fans, particularly one that I am familiar with called Quiet Cool. And it's just they're kind of the leader in that industry. And just a quick synopsis of what you can expect in that episode is we talk about exhausting the stale air in a home and moving it out quickly. I forget how many times you can completely circulate the air out of your home with fresh air, replace it with fresh air. How many times an hour? I mean, it's like 8 times an hour using the quiet, cool attic fan or whole home fan and an attic fan, combining them together. And I'm going to do this. And when I do it, I'm thinking I'll do it either late this fall or early this winter, but I will post pictures on our Facebook page, Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy, and hope you'll listen to that episode if you haven't already, or you listen to it again as a refresher. But yeah, it's so basically you have a centrally located area in your ceiling that you cut in a vent, and then the attic side you have a fan that pulls air through your house, and the fresh air comes from a couple of open windows strategically placed in your home. So maybe you've got your kitchen window open and maybe your living room open just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it will exchange that air of the whole home in just a matter of minutes and several times in an hour. So to me, that just sounds healthy. And I think you'll enjoy the video that I posted. I actually posted on Farmers Electric's web Facebook page. And if you go back to episode 8 on Morning Buzz with Energy Guy Facebook page, you'll see that same video is there right around episode 8. But enjoy that. Hey, can I give a shout out to Coca-Cola? Free advertisement. Have you guys tried the Coke Zero? It's pretty good. I don't necessarily like it out of the fountain, but the Coke Zero out of the can poured over some ice, particularly if you had the can in the refrigerator so it's cold and it doesn't melt the ice, so you get the whole potency of the Coke. It doesn't melt the ice and water it down too quickly. It is really good. As far as, I don't really like diet drinks, but I'm trying to watch my calorie intake, and I've really enjoyed the Coke Zeros. So if you haven't tried that, I would suggest you try that. And we don't need to be drinking that many diet sodas or regular sodas, because one has got the artificial sweetener that's not supposed to be good for you, and the other has a lot of sugar, which isn't supposed to be good for you. So, ideally you probably need to be drinking water, but sometimes you got to have a little something sweet. So today we are talking about fall, and I thought it'd be a great time to talk about fall energy efficiency tips. And these are things I talk about fairly regularly, but I like to send these things home because I want you, repetition will help you learn, and then it just becomes like muscle memory in the brain, and it can become second nature. And not only will you be able to apply some of these things, you can share with others who may ask you what you might be doing differently to save a little money on your energy bill. So the first thing I can think of is seal your air leaks and insulate. So caulk and weather strip. So the caulking that I suggest is clear silicone caulking, and it is an easy, do-it-yourself, cheap, inexpensive, however you want to put it, task that almost anyone can do. So, and the clear is great because you can see through it. So whatever paint might be behind it or whatever color might be behind it, you can still see it. Or and I think for the most part it's paintable if you have to paint over it. But use caulk and weather stripping to seal gaps around windows, doors, and other potential entry points for cold air. Because if you don't, you're going to end up losing some of this conditioned air that's expensive. Like when we get a little closer to the heating season, it's not cheap to heat a home, so you really don't want it to escape out of these little cracks, in and around your window and doors. Insulate. Consider adding or upgrading insulation in your home's attic, walls, or basement to prevent heat loss. Now, I know there's not a lot of basements around here. I have a basement, and I grew up with a home in the center of Clovis on Giddings Street, and we had a basement. But for the most part, I think particularly newer construction, you won't find many basements. Now, the Midwest is different. If you go up there in Iowa and Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, all those, a lot of them do have basements. But what we have a program, and it's an energy efficiency rebate program, and we offer up to a $500 cashback rebate for adding insulation to your attic to equal or greater than R30. To equal or greater than R30 with adding a minimum of 4 inches of insulation. So if you're a member of Farmers Electric and want to take advantage of that, the first thing you do is call. Ask for the energy guy. Ask for me. And myself or one of our line personnel will come and measure your existing attic insulation. And we will tell you the R value. And we'll tell you what you need to meet at least R30. Now, I am an advocate. If you're already in the attic and you're gonna add it, you're gonna bring your insulation to at least R30. Why not bring it to at least R38 or greater? You're already up there. That's the biggest part of it. But yeah, $500, and that'll pay for a lot if it's a DIY project. $500 pays for a lot of insulation. The loose fill fiber is the most common. It looks like snow. And there's also cellulose. There's bats, which is the one with the paper on one side, and it's fiberglass. There's 4-inch, there's 6-inch. There may be greater than that. But add insulation if you're lacking. Check your fireplaces. Ensure your fireplace damper is closed when not in use, as an open damper allows warm air to escape. So when we get into the heating season, you want to make sure, and if you're not burning a fire, that you shut your damper. You sure don't want that conditioned air escaping into the atmosphere. Maintain your heating system. This is something you really need to think about. And at least every other year, I'd schedule a tune-up. Have a professional inspect and service your furnace or HVAC system to ensure that it runs efficiently. That's important. Not every year necessarily, but how about every other year? And, they can probably get there and just kind of check things out without doing anything major for less than $100. But what they do may save you $100 during the heating season. And they may save you from a system breaking down when you need it most. So schedule a tune-up. Clean and replace filters. If it's, I say clean because some of them are cleanable. I guess you can spray them off and reuse them. Most are made out of cardboard, and of course you wouldn't want to do that with those. They are disposable. So regularly clean and or replace your furnace and heat pump filters for better performance. I would say we are in a dusty climate, and that lends to dirty filters. So I would say at least every other month. We're 13:54 into the show, so I'm going to pick it up just a little bit. Smart thermostat use. Install a smart thermostat. And what's cool about these smart thermostats is we offer a $75 cashback rebate as part of our energy efficiency program. So be mindful of that. Use a programmable or smart thermostat to automatically adjust the temperature, saving energy when you're asleep or away from the home. And a lot of these smart thermostats have an app, and you can look at your phone. I mean, you may have traveled from here to Timbuktu, and you think, oh, shoot, I left the thermostat turned up. I need to turn it down, or vice versa. Either case, you can do that from your phone in most cases. Adjust the temperature. Lower your thermostat by a few degrees overnight or when the house is unoccupied. Leverage natural and efficient lighting. I love using natural light. We have 27 windows in our home. That's a lot of windows. But we love them because of the natural light. We open blinds and curtains on sunny days and let sunlight warm our home. And we close them at night to keep the heat inside. I use blinds in the morning. I'll open them about 45 degrees so I can still see out. I can still see light. Light still comes in, but it doesn't add a lot of heat to the home because there's not a real direct shine. If you open them like 180 degrees where 90 degrees where they're flat, it lets a lot of light in and could increase the heat in your home. And that's great if it's a cold winter day and they're south facing and you're taking advantage of that south facing sun light that's free energy, free heat. Now, this time of year, not sure if you're going to use air conditioning or heating when you wake up. You may use both by the end of the day, but if it's kind of warm in the morning and you don't want the sun beating in, turn them to that 45-degree angle where you can still see out. Some light comes in, but it doesn't heat up the home unnecessarily. Now, like west-facing windows during the hottest part of the day, even today, here we are in September, but we may warm up into the high 80s, or low 90s. You don't want that west hot sun coming through those, so I would shut those all together during the day, particularly after, say, 1 o'clock. Before that, you don't have to worry about it too much because the sun's on the other side of the house. Switch to LEDs. Replace incandescent light bulbs if you haven't already. I don't know who might still have incandescent light bulbs out there because LED lighting technology is far better than incandescent, and they burn cool, they don't burn hot. But replace those incandescent light bulbs with energy-efficient LED bulbs, which use significantly less energy and last considerably longer. We were changing some out in the office the other day just out of necessity, and we had some spotlights in our lobby. And I had dated these when I put them in, and one of them dated back to 2011. So that's 14 years? Is that right? Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it? 14 years, and it was burning fine. I mean, I was replacing the fixture. We were just kind of upgrading our fixtures in the lobby. And then, a couple of more were like 2013, 2015. I dated them all because that was kind of early in the LED technology as far as lighting goes. LEDs have been around a long time. We had them on boom boxes back in the 80s. The little red lights, green lights, whatever's on those big boom boxes. Those were LED, light-emitting diode. Lifestyle habits is something you consider, like dress warmly. Wear sweaters and other warm, comfortable clothing to help keep your body heat in and reduce the need to turn up the thermostat. I call it dressing in layers. You're going to be cooler in the morning, so dress in a couple of layers. As the day grows older and longer, and you're into the mid-afternoon, you might have to shed something. But I tell you what, it's better than paying a high electric bill. So that's our choice. We can dress in layers and, just use some common sense or, pay the price. Use ceiling fans, and this is a biggie for me. Switch your ceiling fan's direction to clockwise on low speed to circulate warm air from the ceiling downwards. So what that does is it pulls air in the clockwise position. Right now, you may still have those in the counterclockwise position, which blows down air in the center of the room. And that's what you want when it's warm. You want to create a comfortable draft. Now, in the wintertime, and at a higher speed, in the wintertime, you don't want a draft, right? That's the last thing you want. So you set them on a clockwise position, and basically you can look up at the ceiling fan and picture a clock, and if it's turning like a normal second hand would, or a minute or hour hand on a clock, then it's set for the winter setting. That will pull air up through the middle of the room, pushing the air across the ceiling and down the outside walls and then up again. So it's pushing that warmer conditioned air from your heater and circulating it in a slow motion rather than creating a draft. I am going to go into our 2-minute safety drill, which might be a new part of our show, because I think safety is unbelievably important. And I really like you guys, so I don't want anyone hurt, and I don't want anyone's home damaged. And I want to keep you around as long as we can. So we're going to talk a little bit about fall safety tips as far as electricity goes. So outdoor electric safety. First of all, you want to clear debris, sweep dry leaves and other flammable materials away from your outdoor outlets, light fixtures, and cords, as they can be a fire hazard. That dry leaves can all be fuel and really wreak some havoc. So it's best to take care of that. Plus, that's probably on your list of chores anyway. Use weatherproof devices. Only use weatherproof electrical devices and outlets for outdoor activities to protect them from moisture. This is a time of year, and I was reminded of this not long ago. My son was in town, and we used to have a tradition of going to Spirit Halloween. So just he and I walking around there and having fun, watching all the mechanical, I forget what that's called, but large mechanical scary things going off. You have to step on the pad or walk by it, and it will trigger this large scary thing into moving. And so I was reminded of that when he was here. And you want to inspect your electrical cords. Before using any outdoor electrical equipment, check power cords and electrical devices for damage, wear, and tear. Because a damaged cord can lead to either an electric shock or fire. So you want to, if you ever find that an electrical cord, don't try to repair it. Just they're not that expensive. Just throw it away and make sure that no one will ever use it. Indoor electrical safety. Test smoke alarms. Test your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors every month, as you'll be using more electrical devices and spending more time inside. They used to say with a time change, that's a good time to change the batteries on smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. So let's just stick with that. What else do we have? Avoid overloading circuits. Don't overload circuits with high energy devices like space heaters or seasonal decorations. We talked about the seasonal decorations and going into Christmas as well. So starting in Halloween, it really doesn't slow down much, because it's about Thanksgiving time is when a lot of folks want to get out and decorate their homes for Christmas. But if you overload an outlet or a circuit, it can cause fires or blow fuses, or in our case, these days, breakers, trip breakers. But that's another, and one of our girls up front that works in billing, Danielle, she and I were talking, and she said, you should say something about safety of space heaters. And that's a great point, Danielle. Thank you. Yes, space heaters are awesome, and they're perfect for zonal heating if you don't overuse them. And I say, when I say overuse them, I say more than one is probably overusing one at a time, no matter where it is in the house. It's you use it where you're occupying space. So if you're in the living room and sitting on the couch or your favorite chair, just aim the space heater towards that area and those evening hours, or in lieu of a space heater, use a heated throw or just a minky or whatever you might have, a heavier blanket, a wool blanket, just you name it, a regular throw, anything just to cut the chill a little bit, and at the same time save money. But if you use space heaters, you got to be safe with those. You don't want them like where they can fall over. A lot of them have an automatic cutoff, but some of them still don't. They have a long shelf life, so some of these space heaters may be 20 years old and might not have that technology built into them. So if they fall over, they may fall into something that's flammable, and then before you know it, you've got a fire to deal with. And so you want to keep those away from curtains and drapes and things like that as well. Inspect and repair cords. Check all indoor electrical cords for frayed wires or damaged before use. Now, if there's a cord that's leading to an old lamp or something like that, now those can be replaced. Now, I would suggest if you're a real confident do-it-yourselfer, okay, you can probably do that. But if you're not real confident, I would suggest you take that to someone that has a little more knowledge, maybe a small appliance repair shop or something like that, and they can change that cord for you. There's probably nothing wrong with the fixture itself. It's just that cords can become damaged over time and frayed, and those can be dangerous. So be real careful with those. General electrical safety. Use GFCIs, ground fault circuit interrupters. You certainly need those anywhere near water. And it's code for new construction to have those anywhere in the kitchen or the bathroom or outside near the garage. So install ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCIs, on outdoor outlets to automatically disconnect power if they get wet. And they do, if they function properly, in just a millisecond, they will open that circuit and cut off the power to whatever appliance you may be using. So they're a great addition to your home. Be cautious with ladders. Never use metal ladders near power lines. Use wooden or fiberglass ladders instead. But I wouldn't use a ladder near a power line at all. Just you definitely need to be aware of your surroundings and look up for safety. That's what I tell kids when I talk to them. Used to when we were kids, we would say, stop, look, and listen before you cross the street. That's a big deal. Don't hear that anymore. But if a ball goes out in the street, you don't just run out there to retrieve it. You stop, you look, you listen. And it's the same with the, electrical hazards around your house. Just stop and look and just be aware of your surroundings. Call a professional. Do not attempt home wiring improvements. That's what I mentioned about the lamp, or repairs yourself unless you're really competent. Call a qualified electrical contractor for any electrical work. Okay, we got to move along. We are 28 minutes, 11 seconds, and we want to talk about, we missed it last week, but we want to talk about this day in history, September 27th. Sheriff Wild Bill Hickok breaks up fight, kills a man. Just after midnight on September 27th, 1869, Ellis County Sheriff Wild Bill Hickok and his deputy responded to a report that a local ruffian named Samuel Strawhan and several drunken buddies were tearing up John Bitter's Beer Saloon in Hays City, Kansas. Now, for you fans of Gunsmoke, Hays City, you might recall, is where most that were sentenced to hang during a Gunsmoke episode would be taken by Matt or one of his deputies. So I remember hearing about Hays City all the time. But back to the story. When Hickok arrived and ordered the men to stop, Strawhan turned to attack him, and Hickok shot him dead. Strawhan died instantly, as did the riot. So they thought, boy, this guy's serious. We better calm down. John Adams appointed to negotiate peace terms with Great Britain. On September 27, 1779, the Continental Congress appoints John Adams to travel to France to represent the United States in charge of negotiating treaties of peace and commerce with Great Britain toward the end of the Revolutionary War. On September 27, 1939, 140,000 Polish troops are taken prisoner by the German invaders as Warsaw surrenders to Hitler's army. The Poles fought bravely, let's see. I was reading this, so kind of got my words twisted. The Poles fought bravely, but were able to hold on for only 26 days. The invasion of Poland by German forces is widely considered the beginning of World War II. And we know how that happened, how that ended. Japanese pulled us into that war by attacking Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, and the rest is history. We didn't appreciate that, so we took care of business. It took us a while. It took us about 4 years, but in the end, the United States was victorious. 30 minutes and 38 seconds, not bad. Not bad. I hope to see you next week. In the meantime, listen to this episode and any others you might have missed. You can find them on our Facebook page, Morning Buzz with the Energy Guy. So we'll see you next week. Take care.